Okay. All right, we are going to go ahead and get started, everyone. So thank you, first of all, for coming on out. It speaks quite a bit for St. Mark's here. I have done other churches and interviews, but this is like the largest group, and so it really says about the importance of music just by you being here. It really says a lot, and in terms of that. I always like to start my rehearsals and end my rehearsals in prayer. So we're going to start with just a very short prayer. I'm going to do the prayer at the beginning, and at the end, I'm going to ask for your involvement on that a little bit. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing these wonderful musicians. May they sing glory to you, God, as we try to nourish our hearts, enrich our minds, but most of all, sing with lots of air from our gut as we honor and praise you today. Amen. So I want to start out with just some brief warm-ups. I know some people, because of COVID, we haven't sung for a little while. Singing, number 1 rule, number 2 rule, number 3 rule are all the same thing. It's all about the breath of God. Adam first received the breath from God. This is when we sing, it's our opportunity to give our breath back into praise. And so what I want you all to know, first of all, is stand up. And I want you to intentionally, I know this is counterintuitive a little bit from our mask perspective, but I want you to really try to take a slow, deep breath in for 5 counts. I'll just do it silently with fingers counting. And then I want you to hold for 5 counts, and then I want you to release for 5 counts. The key of this exercise is you don't go, you go slowly, and try not to make a sound. I'm just doing a sound to demonstrate, but do it over the full 5 counts. And when you release, do it over the 5 counts. That's the key. So get ready, breathe in, hold, release. You guys are amazing. I was just checking a couple different things, and you weren't doing any of the bad habits that I look for. You were not lifting your shoulders up. You're keeping them down. I felt you were paying attention, so hats off to you. So step number 1, in terms of understanding where you're at. I want you now to do a big yawn and start out on a high pitch and move it down like this. Yawn. Do that. Yeah. Again. Yeah. Yeah. We're, Episcopalian, so we like doing everything in Trinitarian form. So thank you in terms of this. All right. So I want to do just a tongue twister exercise right now, and I want you to just do this, which is diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. Have you heard that one? All right, well, then I don't need to worry about it. This is your pitch. Dong. Diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. Diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. Yep, up. Diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. A little faster. Diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. Diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. Diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. Diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. Diction is done on the tip of the tongue of the teeth. That's good. All right. Let's go do another one. Let's start with a Z, ah. So I want you to do a fifth going on a pitch going Z, ah. Okay? Let's try that. Z, ah. Z, ah. Z, that was a little off. Try that again. Try that. Z. Z. As you go to higher, you're moving to your head voice. Keep your throat a little more vertical. We got some little bit of wideness in the throat. Do you understand what I'm talking about? There's a sense, you keep your mouth more open, you can lift the top of your soft palate in the back up. Instead of like, the wideness is like a smile, okay? That's not what I'm looking for this. So keep it wide, vertical. So that's what I'm looking, instead of that's not what I want, okay? We'll stop with that, okay? All right. I usually like to warm up on still a hymn, and I know that I was asked to do a hymn, so we're going to look at hymn 390, which is for this coming Sunday. We're still warming up on it. It's hopefully a hymn you know, Praise to the Lord. In terms of this, what I really am interested in singing is a little bit of a detached style, which means you put a little bit of space. I don't want you to go, praise to, praise to the Lord. I want you to go, praise to the Lord. Put that space in between it. Imagine like there's a little bit of a bouncing ball. Particularly when you have a little bit of reverb in here, it actually, by putting that space, it'll create more energy without being faster. And so part of our job as a choir is to get the congregation like, wow, this is cool. This is an amazing hymn. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Praise to the Lord. Okay. Let me put my reading glasses on. So another thing that's really important to me, I want to call it out right away, is I'm a big stickler for commas, semicolons. So right after the first phrase, praise to the Lord, in every verse there's a comma or a semicolon, so I want you to do a slight lift there. Just take a little breath. You can sing the whole phrase, but I still want from a standpoint you do take a lift. So pay attention to the, where you lift. 1, 2, 3. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, King of creation. Okay, you're doing a lovely, I'm saying what I called for, a little more detached. Now I want to see if you can do a little variety. I want you to just slightly lengthen that note, but still have a space in between it, okay? I really appreciate that. 1, 2, 3. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Okay, stop. The lower voices, basses particularly, you're slightly behind the beat. Do you hear that? I want you to be all vertical, and it might be partly because of the placement, but it's sounding to me like you're a little bit behind us. So I want to start again from the beginning, and I want you to think, the other thing I want you to think about this from a rhythm is the 3/4 is strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. So you don't really want to accent like a punch. You just want to put a little more actually length on the very first note and keep it short like you've been doing so wonderfully on count 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. That is much better. The basses you were now keeping up in rhythm. I was feeling that pulse of it feels like a waltz-like, and you're making it. And now, here I keep changing it, but I want you to think a little more dance-like, okay? 1, 2, 3. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Oh, my soul, praise Him, for He is my help and salvation. Join the great throng, psaltery, organ, and song, sounding glad adoration. Okay. I don't know what your tradition here, but this is my tradition, so I'm the director, so I'm going to put it, is I like to do always, unless I tell otherwise, verse 1 and 4, the beginning and last verse are always in unison. All middle verses are in parts. Unless I say so, and there are hymns that I change that. So, but if I say nothing, that's your default position, and in terms of that, and okay. And I like to, to help some people when I do give different directions, I prefer that people use a U in front of the verse for unison and an H for harmony. If you put P, some people think it's piano or soft. I've seen that in some churches. All right, we're going to do verse 2 in parts because I want to hear how the balance is. 1, 2, 3. Praise to the Lord over all things. He reigns and reigns. Born alone. Okay, did you hear on that? Sustaineth, we were not quite together. S is a more tricky one. Push through the S to get right to that vowel. After saints, he sustain. Don't go saints, saint, right? Push through that. The other thing, how many tenors do we have here, if any? All right, just one. That's fine. I will sing tenor eventually too, but I'm listening right now. How many altos do we have? Okay. That helps me out. That's kind of what I was thinking. So we're perfectly in balance with who we have. I believe strongly we work with who we have. Okay? So I want to do verse 2 again. I want to start on the second line or system, depending on how you're used to calling it, and on verse 2, and we're going to start on the third measure. So born as on eagle wings. 1, 2, 3. Born as on eagle's wings, safely sustained. Hast thou not seen all my needs have been granted and ordained? Again, on the word been, we got to come to an agreement when to release. So what I encourage on this one, because I want the downbeat to be firm, I would say put the N on the and of 3. So Ben, 1 and 2 and N. Okay? So I need everyone to do that together. So go back to the third line, the third measure, hast thou not seen. 1, 2, 3. Hast thou not seen all thou needest have been granted in gladly ordained. Awesome. You guys respond really, really well. And that's what I was really looking to see, how well you change to different things. And I use hymns as practice exercises to help unify. And that's why I call it a warm-up, because a good choir is getting everyone to move together. Right or wrong, we pick a direction and we go with it. So good job. So that Ben was just like cleaned up just like that. All right, so good job. So let's go look at some of our songs. So we're going to start with the anthem that was given to me, Albert, Oh Come and Sing. How many people here know this, first of all, or is this a new one? You all know it, okay. This is an interesting piece because I call it like Amazing Grace. What is the tempo? What is the style of it? I have done this in several different communities. I have done it super slow. I've done it super fast. And so I'm kind of interesting, and part of this is a dialogue. Sometimes directors come in and say, this is the way it is, and sometimes I do. But on this particular piece, I don't. So I'm listening to how you're doing it, and I'm going to adjust a little bit to you. So I view, first of all, rhythm is, in all songs, I break it down to a simple rule. Yes? What? I would like to start in English, and then I would like to move to Latin. So because I don't see many Spanish people here tonight, but if it was, I would be. But right now, I would like to start us in English, just for a learning perspective. But what I was about to say is, all pieces I do, I call for simple choir. What's your three break is rhythm, pitch, or text. And you have to hierarchy, what is the most important. And so what I'm saying is, on this piece, rhythm is the most important thing. So that means you think about the piece a little bit different. Second is text, and third is pitch. Now that's very unusual because a lot of singers go, oh, I hit the wrong note. I'm less concerned about on this piece if you have a slight smudge on but if you sing on the wrong rhythm, it will drive me crazy. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm interested in you focusing on, okay? Okay, let's start right at the beginning. See, because I want to hear how you do it. 1, 1, and 2. Oh, come and sing. Oh, come and sing. Come sing your praises to the Lord. Okay, now that was a little lazy. Come sing your praises to the Lord. Right on that phrase. You got to get off of come because you got to breathe on the English. We're still in English. We're still on English. We're going to do English first. Good question. Maybe that's what I'm hearing. We're going to just start in top. I can see, I was wondering what was going on, and I think that was it. Thank you. 1, 2. Oh, come and sing. Oh, come and sing. Come sing your praises to the Lord. Okay, now I need a little more D on Lord. Lord, like a Homer Simpson D. But don't go to a German D, which is a DT. Just shy of that, okay? But give me a little more D. Oh, come and sing. 1 and 2 and 1. Oh, come and sing. Oh, come and sing. Come sing your praises to the Lord. Oh, come and sing. Oh, stop. Do we have anyone who's doing the harmony, the small notes? No one? Oh. Okay, well, I have to tell you. All right, I would like a few voices. I would like all tenors, 1, and all soprano 1s. If you consider yourself a true soprano, I would like you to do the hop one. Yes. All right, tell you what, I'll be kind on this. No, I'm just teasing. Let's have all sopranos and tenors sing the top note because I love the harmony on this. Let's see how it sounds. Okay? Start from the beginning though. 1 and 2 and 1. Oh, come and sing. Oh, come and sing. Come sing your praises to the Lord. Oh, come and sing. Oh, come and sing. Oh, praises oh, praises to the Lord. Okay. We're having some questions on rhythm. Okay, I misheard. I thought you said you only do that in English. Okay. And particularly in this one here, the English to me fits well, but I will tell you what, I will move, because right now this is not important for me. We move to Spanish. I misheard. I heard that you only, okay? Let's do it in Spanish. I can flex on this one. 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, I want to start right before it goes into parts because I'm just hearing something interesting, but I want to just hear it again. Okay, 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, how many people are doing the small notes there? That's the question I have. I need a few more. Can I have a few more sopranos join on those smaller? Because I need a couple people to keep that. Oh, come. Okay. Okay, right, start on that section right there. Second line, pick up to fourth measure. 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, God, that's the idea. That's what I'm looking for to make this piece to come alive. Let's try it again. 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, now you do a repeat here, or do you, so this is one of those songs people do differently, or you go right to the verse. Either way, we're going to go to the verse right now, okay? Or, okay, all right. At this point, I'm not interested in working on the language because that's a separate thing, but let's do this in English. 1 and 2 and okay, one of the things that's important for this culture, the accent, and several others, is it's the afterbeat, the syncopation that is more important. Some of you are doing this. Some of you are doing more the traditional Western, which is the 1, 2, 1. It's more a 1 and 2 and. So think more a little more on the and. Okay, and it helps on this because there's some syncopation, particularly in this, the end section. So let's start on we're on verse 2. Let's try it right there, right on verse 2. 1 and 2 and. Okay, you're making too much now of the and. You're lengthening the note, and it has to be kept short. Okay, and the other part of it is just to think of is that particularly. So just let's try that again. 1 and 2 and. Good. Let's say we got a little bit lazy on da 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 da. You got to keep that dance there. So start from the beginning there. 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, we're not losing a little bit of that syncopation a little bit, and it's hard on the first text because you have that word filled in English. So I want you to flip that F a little bit faster so we can, and with is not an important word. 1 and 2 and filled with the Spirit, filled with the vision. Jesus is okay, that again, Jesus, we were doing so well on this section because you got that da 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 da. The last note has to be released. You're holding, there's a tendency for someone to hold on, and the rest is the most important thing for rhythm, that silence. Okay, let's start right on that line. 1 and 2 and. Good. Okay, stop. I want everyone to stand now. Okay? We're starting to get the style. Sorry, I got to stay on the mic for the video. So, starting to get the style, but what I want you to do now is you got to relax a little bit into it. And I want you to be comfortable just to move a little bit, okay? Because you need, part of this style is it has to have that. So, can you just try to not just kind of, let's move a little bit right now. Pretend you're just doing the song. I want to see what you do. And I don't want you actually to do all the same thing. Don't move too fast, just more like, you can even think like 1, 2, 1, okay? Let's try that from the top, and we're gonna do verse 4. 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, very good. Sit down. So always remember, in the choir, we work very hard. We need to be focused, but in the end, you have to invite the Holy Spirit to come in and feel the music. And particularly, and no matter what, whether we're doing traditional music or music of different cultures, you have to let that Spirit come into you. Because this is what makes church music different than something you see like in colleges or in the universities. So thank you. I was definitely seeing some. I want to go to the next piece, Hear My Prayer. This is a great tune by Moses Hogan, who died too young. So if you don't know him, look him up. It certainly is in the spiritual style, but this one is a very straightforward hymn tune in terms of it. And it's slow, and then we can do lots of interesting things with it. So if you haven't picked up already, I'm attention for details, and we'll talk about it. But right now, since it's the first time has anyone happened to know this? Okay. It is, to me, it's a standard in literature, but if you don't know it, I'm glad to be able to be showing you. So I'm going to play a little bit. So I want you to do it slow, and it has a hymn. This one now you do connect, and I really want to hear the sonority of this, and I'm looking for dramatic, dynamic changes. Think romantic in terms of style. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Lord, please hear my prayer. Okay, now that's not too bad for a first read. In this culture, particularly the O I want like an O like you're excited. Oh, instead of just oh like it's lying there, okay? And it's slow, so you have a little time to do something with notes. Make a little bit of music out of it. 2, 3. Oh, Lord, hear my prayer. Okay, now don't be afraid with the way I do this, of silence in between the phrase. So prayer, let me bring you in on the next line, okay? Eventually, I like to do this a cappella, and I just conduct it. 2, 3. Oh, Lord, please hear my prayer. In the morning when I rise. There's a hold. Go on. It's your servant bound for glory. Let's do that line again. I know you're still reading it, but I want you to get the style right way what I'm doing. 1, 2. It's the servant bound for glory. Oh, dear Lord, please hear my prayer. Now, if you run out of breath, and you know you're going to run out of breath, and you see me still moving, stop, take a short breath, and come in. Don't wait to the bitter end. I always give a cutoff, when you're going to do, because it's better to, instead of going, prayer. When you run out of breath, you tend to go flat, okay? Let's start still right where we just left off. Let's go on measure 8, count 4. 2, 3. Oh, Lord, is hear my prayer. Keep me safe with your arms. It's your servant bound for glory. Okay, I want a more E sound there, less R, instead of re, just more E, okay? That's a really important sound. Let's go back to it's your servant. 1, 2. It's your servant bound for glory. Please hear a little faster. When the work on earth is done. Okay, this one, if you look after done, it has an asterisk, and if you look down at the bottom, it says close to an N. So you go, I want you to literally go done, and then on count 2, close to an N and hold the N. So done, okay? Let's do that, okay? And I'll cut off the N. Start on measure 13, count 3. 1, 2. I need a little more when, okay? Singing, you cannot do a question mark, if you didn't know that, because we can't, when we do like a question mark in a sentence, we lift our voice up, but we can't change the pitch when we sing. So this is one you do like a rush of a WH, lifting it up, you have that opportunity. 1, 2. When my work is done. That's okay. I want a little more. Make the N, put your N with a little bit of, sorry, I can't see the math, but you need to have a difference between an M and an M. As an M is an N has space here in terms of it. So lift the N, lift your lips a little bit more open, because I really want to hear it. You can almost overdo that, okay? Because in terms of this, it's very much in the style, okay? When my work is done. 1, 2. When Good. And you come to take me home. Just become I'm bound for. Okay, who do we have doing that high G? Anyone? Yes. I want to just, it's very flip. Okay, I just want to hear that right now. Just anyone who wants to do that G. And that da-da-da. Ready? Go. Okay. Give me a little bit more, this is unusual, but only for you because to make it more rhythm, and I want a little more B. Boom, okay? Just accent the B a little bit. 1, 2. That's what I'm looking for because I want, normally I don't, but I want that to pop a little bit more. Okay, let's try everyone going back to measure 17, count 3. 1, 2. Just So on this one, put the N on count 3 and then hold it. And there'll be, I'm putting a hold here, even though there's not one. I just do this on this song. I'm very free flow with the rhythm on this song. At measure 23, count 3, sopranos, say, be a little lazy on that, okay? You're a lazy river going down the stream. Say, hold it. Well, I know some people have that F, but I don't want you to do that. I want you to literally go through it. Well, and then hold the last one until okay? Let's go pick up to 23 and to here. 2, 3. And to see you say, well done. Okay, we all didn't go to an end together, so this one I want to go done. So done. This means close to an N. Okay, but it's not all the way, and then I'll cut it. I always try to do a swirly thingy to cut it off. I know sometimes. So let's just on the word done, okay? Done. Okay, we'll go back to 23, 2, 3. And to hear you say, okay, how many low basses do we have? Anyone who can do this low E? Dawn. Okay, you? I want to hear what you can do on this E, and you're free to stop at any time. I'd rather you not run out of breath. Just when you feel like you can no longer have, you can give me it says soft, but you can give me as much as you got. As much as you got. You're the only one. Everyone else has to be quiet because I want to hear you. Okay? So just you right now, okay? Dawn. Ready? So what I want you to do is take a breath sooner than you think you need it and then come back in. And I want you to be kind of random. Okay, try it again. Can you stand up for me? Yeah, good, thank you. Let's try it again. Oh. Okay, all right, I just need to see what you can do. So thank you, I appreciate that. And it's not easy. To help out for those who, any men here who can do, hopefully I have several more, except for the tenor who can do this E flat. You're helping out with that low E, okay? So let's have all basses right there on this, okay? It's on this low E flat. And I want it for right now, I just want you, the basses, even if you're up an octave, I want you to sing the E flat, Okay, holding that out forever. 3, 4. So it's difficult holding that out, and the key is try not all to breathe at the same time. I want you, even if some of you are up an octave, I want you to hold that E flat, and I want just tenor doing this. Done, done with sin and sorrow. Now, on this one, you notice there's crescendos and decrescendos. Make the most of that. So I would like to hear the tenor, alto, sopranos now on measure 24, count 4. Unhurried. 2, 3. Done with sin and sorrow. Okay, I need a little more rise and then a little more fall. Try it again. 2, 3. Done with. Okay, now because I need more rise, don't make too much of the D here. Normally I would have loved that D, but not in this section. I want a more gentle D. See, I change my rules all the time. 2, 3. Done with sin. Okay, that sin. This is all about the sin. Okay, it's the peak. Ready? Go. Done with sin. And close to an N. Remember, that's the reason I want the sin to come out a little more, because you will close to an N. 2, 3. Done with sin and sorrow. Have mercy. No, it's again a rise and fall. Have mercy. Just on that, have mercy. Measure 26. 1. Have mercy. Oh, yes, that's exactly what I want. Let's go back to pick up to 25. 2, 3. None with sin and sorrow. Have mercy. All right, altos. On this last piece, because of who we have, I want all altos to sing the G. Can you sing down there? I want all altos on that G. Tenor, you're on the E flat, and then basses, and then. So let's try that. Amen. Ready? Go. Okay, here's your pitches. It says piano, but for humor me now and sing mezzo piano, because I want the ah to be louder than the men. So I want to be a noticeable difference. So sing mezzo piano and then drop soft. And so what I want you to think is ah is mezzo piano, men is piano, and then we close to an N, which will be the pianissimo. Here we go. Try it again. You're too soft on men, okay? The ah was good. Try it again. Maybe even a little more on the ah. It's okay. I want the decrescendo more than the absolute volume. Actually, can you go all altos and basses, tenor stand? That'll help you. It's easier to sing quiet when you're standing. Here we go. Okay. All right, let's sing the whole thing. Can everyone stand? I don't know about you, but I'm feeling some goosebumps, so I hope you are too. So all I'm going to give you is the starting pitch, and I'm 2, 3. Okay, stop. Just notice the word mourn. It's in, not ing. I had one person say ing. It's just, so take that off. That's okay. I'm being kind. It might have been 2 or 3. 2, 3. Oh, Lord, please hear my prayer. In the morning when some of you did that when the conductor lifts their hands up, the volume increases. And on this particular one, you can take it up to a double forte, okay? I actually did double, not only my hands went up, I stood up. It means I want a big crescendo here, okay? From the top, you're getting the idea. 2, 3. Oh, Lord, please hear my prayer. Okay, well, we were not together. And I know some of it too might be a visual. Some people, if you can't see my hand, move if you need to, because we're in a funky space. But we will provide. 2, 3. That was not 2 minutes. That was the crescendo I want. If you have even a little more, some of you, that's all you can do, but I need everyone to do that crescendo. On the word I, it's a diphthong. I'm not working on the parts as much, but make sure you're right on the center of that vowel, okay? It is a diphthong, okay? Let's start on the word in. 1, 2. Always be prepared to hold that note out. And if you feel you're starting to falter, that's okay. Stop the tone, come back in. It's okay. You don't have to hold it to the bitter end. Let's go do that last phrase, because we started to go a little flat on that word prayer. In, oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear Lord, please hear when the work on earth is done. Okay, now what I normally do, and I didn't explain this, basses, you keep holding that E flat. So I cut everyone else off and I just want to hear. And so if you're at the low one or the high one, so I'm sorry I didn't explain that one. Okay, pick up to 23, because that's a peculiar thing. 2, 3. When do you hear the sound? Okay, where it's hard, that pitch. That's a hard pitch. Okay, so let's do the word done. Sorry. Done. Ready? I'm done. Done with sin and sorrow. Have mercy. Mercy. Do that last amen again. Don't worry about being soft. Is about being gentle, not about volume. You need to use enough air, so give me a little more volume and think, it's a rounded attack, a rounded release. Here we go. Altos. There's your note. Yes, that's the fade out I'm looking for. Good job. Thank you. All right, right to the bitter end. So thank you all. I normally have a prayer, but in terms of this, that I would like to read questions.
I'm going to have you use the mic.
Yes. Okay. So this is Q&A time. So whatever questions you have, I don't know. I have lots of stories and rich things, but so whatever you would like to know. Wow, a setting in Maganook. Well, I'm biased because Roland Martin is my best friend, or one of many friends, and he has a fabulous one, and he's like sold over 10,000 copies of the Maganook. He wrote it in '91. It first was done at Swanee, where I go to the Swanee Music Conference, and so by far that's my favorite Maganook. But Roland Martin. So he went to Eastman School of Music and he taught in New York, and he's slowly retiring from the multiple jobs and is a full-time composer. He makes his living fully on composing music. Yes, you could. And I do, at the last church I did for Advent Lessons and Carols, I did a whole selection of his music. Roland Martin, Martin. Roland, Roland. I call him Ron, but in his music it says Roland. It's a modern composer, but I like to encourage modern composers that I think are doing good stuff. But so when it comes to musical styles, I try to have one foot in the past and one foot in the present. So I believe in doing a lot of the classics, whether it's Bach or Beethoven, but then I also like to have something of a living composer and trying to find the best. I have to spend more time with the living composers because there's a lot of stuff I don't really care for, but I search and search and search until I find some stuff that I really. Well, I'm just saying that's who it is, Roland. So yeah, that's kind of the same question. So I am biased. Malcolm Archer has lots of good stuff. Yeah. And what? When I was younger, I was totally into, I like to call him Saint John Rutter, and I wish, unfortunately, he hasn't composed as much in the last, several decades. So I have, if you want to know my favorite hymns, the ones that I did at my wedding are still my favorite hymns. Hymn number 400, that one. Sorry, I'm pulling a little more. I should know. I'm usually pretty good. And one that's not as well known is "There's a Wideness in God's Mercy." The Calvin Hampton version, 469, is one of my favorites. I'm a big fan. I playing "Lift Every Voice and Sing," 599 on a regular. Sorry. Yes. 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 I do too, to be honest with you. I actually, people would disagree, but for me, Holy Week and Easter is the height for Christianity. And for me, it's a toss up between Pentecost and Christmas. A lot of people like Pentecost. That I'm like, yeah, I love the music for Pentecost. What brought? Yes, sure. I will repeat the question. What brought me to look at this position here? What brought me to consider this is several factors kind of converging on the same thing. One, this is kind of like coming for me full circle. My wife's from this area. I'm from the Midwest. I have traveled the world a little bit, and I can talk about when I've worked in China for a while and worked in different parts of the country. But it's just kind of like coming home. So that's one theme. The other theme is the philosophy of this church is a little closer to where my spirituality is. No church is a perfect match, but it's much more comfortable when you're in a community that matches what you're looking for. I have enjoyed working with the Latino communities, with the African American communities. So I enjoy working within more inclusive communities. I will enjoy working with the LGBT communities. So those are all important to me. It's more, we're all children of God, and I want to welcome everyone. And it's not just a slogan on a bumper sticker. I try to actually live that. And as musicians, I think this is one of the opportunities that, in this modern world now we live in, bringing Democrats and Republicans together to sing is where the real challenge is. Well, I had a day job as a chemical engineer for most of my life, so my day job required me to move. So that forced most of my moves. And so I moved internally within the companies, and then also I took some opportunities to move. And often the organ job wherever I moved, you can pretty much move to any community and you can find an organ job it's not hard. No, I'm now fully retired as a chemical engineer. So the job I had in Clearwater is the first time I have taken a full-time, and it's the first time I moved from Vegas cross country for a music job. So it was kind of a scary step at first, but it's just like it felt right, and I've grown into it. And being a full-time musician, it was like everyone, it's a lot different, but what I do appreciate is how I'm able to live and breathe what I want to do. And I hope to do this the rest of my life. I hope to, a lot of, as an engineer, I always was planning to early retire, and everyone talks about that. But as a church musician, I hope to play as long as my fingers are able to. At some point, I may move to a smaller church because I just want less responsibilities, but I see myself playing well into the 70s or even 80s. Yes. That's a long time. It's a matter of perspective, but I first started playing in the church when I was 11. So I've been playing in the church my whole life, and it was just, you could say it started as a hobby, moved into an avocation, and now it's my love and passion. And I'm doing this because I want to. Yes. Oh, by far keyboard. Yes, the question is, were you drawn by either as a vocalist or as a keyboardist? I was, yeah, so I started out if you were part of the interview, I first heard the organ as a small child and was loving standing in front of those bass pipes and feel my chest rattled when I was 3 and 5 years old. And my brother and I would compete and figure out what, because we wanted, and we would even push and shove each other away just so we could stand in front of the bass pipe to have it play. And I did, that's how I described God at that point, is that the bass pipe of the Bourdon pipe was the breath of God. So I took lessons from, for piano and then organ at a very young age. And actually, I really started more singing not really until I got to college. But I have now become, many people feel I'm a very good vocal teacher, because I think I had to learn how to sing. So many of my students say I'm a really good teacher because I had to really work at it. So I didn't have good pitch control, for example, at the beginning, but I do now. And it's something I had to focus on. So I think often teachers, where our strength of mine is sight reading, I have a hard time teaching sight reading to my students, because it's like, you don't get it? Go ahead, another question. Yes?
Obviously, COVID was a huge challenge for all of us, not saying with each other, but on the other, all, and then working always. Do you have anything you'd like to share about how you got through COVID? Is there anything out of it?
Okay, so the question is, how did I get through COVID, and is there anything positive to share? Everyone's COVID story, because I do talk with people in the country, is very, very different. I'm in Florida right now. Florida, whether I agree or not, chose to remain very open. Our church was closed down for 6 weeks, and then we opened back up, and a lot of people were upset about it. But the reality is, we were having, several hundred on church, and no one came to church. So the doors were open, but no one came. So in a sense, people voted with their feet. So I actually felt it was maybe not a bad thing, because we just said, you want to come? And a lot of those people who complained that we need to open the church still didn't come. So they voted with their feet. So in terms of that, so for me, the music did not stop. It did change how we worked with small. I very early on got singer's masks for all my choirs. I had a donor in the choir who paid for everyone, so that was not a barrier. So that was, I think, important to recognize the use of masks. I actually believe masks should be part of our culture, and I encourage several of my choir members to wear masks for all rehearsals. And I'm saying, going forward, I think it encourages you to breathe sooner and use proper breath support. And at some point, if you're comfortable in worship to take it off, you'll say, whoa, it's like it's easy. So, but most of your contact for disease is going to occur in rehearsal, where you're going long periods of time and doing hard work. So you have to look at the times and where the need is, but I am conscious of the science. I've worn masks in my chemical engineering all day long, so for me, this is not a new thing. In terms of the positive side, I think it's caused people to slow down. I think people are getting better work-life balances. I'm starting to see, and I'm hearing from several of my colleagues, that choirs are really starting to grow again, because there's more interest. People are starting to slow down and say, I would like to do something different with my life. And choir is one area that some people are looking at to form a different form of spiritual connection. So I think that's one of the positive. I think that will not last. I think in 2 or 3 years, we'll be back to our same busy self. I'm a little cynical that area, but as a Christian, I'm really trying hard to attract and get anyone I can for the next couple of years. Yes?
I was wondering if you have any experience with leading choirs visiting choirs to other congregations, either within the United States or abroad?
Yeah. So the question was, do I have any experience in leading choirs into other locations and places? I do not have any experience working on myself leading choirs abroad. I have sung with choirs abroad, but I was not leading them. And I can talk about those, but the ones where I did lead is when I was at Kenyon College. We intentionally took the college kids, because that was part of our mission, and would go and sing at more than a dozen churches within the deanery of that area, and that was part of our outreach at that time period in terms of that. And I also really try to work on relationship building. So I'm just not showing up at a church. I'm contacting the choir director. I'm trying to develop a relationship with that choir director. And then I say, what type of music would work well, as opposed to just me pushing what I think is well. I'm looking to what they do, and then I try to match a program that matches more where they're at in terms of their community. So I really think music is about building relationships with others. And so part of that is I say, this is what I like to do, and this is cool. What do you think is cool? And then we meet somewhere in between. Does that answer? Okay. Yes. 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 There's a couple of questions there, but I'm going to focus on the word multi-ethnic. You said, do you have any experience of combining multi-ethnic choirs? And the answer is a lot, a huge amount. Vegas, we had 3 different communities. We had a Latino community, and then we also had a Filipino community. And and I'm still thankful. What I'm doing is I combined for Holy Week, which is spiritually the important time, a liturgy that combined all 3 languages together. Oh, different faiths. Okay, that's a whole different question. Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking you. Yeah. So different faiths in terms of that. I have worked. Yes, when I have worked with different communities in Columbus, Ohio, I was the choir director for an action group called Bread, which was basically trying to be a community organizing. So we were as all different communities, which included Muslims, which included people from the temple, and Jewish and Baha'i. We came together and sang at these events as a choir, and I was and we shared choir director. So it's like at some point someone has to be the director. So this song I'm the director, and then on this next song another person is a director in terms of that and sharing that. I also can say when I led the mass choir at for the general convention, we had actually, not only did we have all the people from the area, we did invite people from many different faiths to join us on, so we had over 300 people singing. Again, it was a shared event at the Episcopal General Convention, but I did participate in that, in terms of that. So yes, I have experience in interfaith type of situations. Even back when I was a student in high school, I was in Deerfield, Illinois. So at the time I was there in Deerfield, Illinois, it was 80% Jewish. So I was already the minority, and I actually played regularly with some people in temple. It was kind of a novelty because depending on their beliefs, how much music they use. So that's always been part of, I would say, my background. No, I was in Deerfield High School because my parents moved there, and my dad got a job there, so that's why I moved to Deerfield. Yes. Yeah, the question is, how much time do you spend on rehearsal? Most churches I've served at, I have had 90-minute rehearsals. I flex a little bit to the community where their needs are. I also, it was asked at dinner tonight, I am a person, I have a kind of a standard what I want for a piece, and when we're done, I end the rehearsal. So when I stopped the rehearsal tonight, we were, on my mind, we were ready. What I try to do is get every singer to sing the best they can the way God has made them today. And if I feel we're there, then it's time to stop. And so I have 90 minutes, and then I usually treat Sunday morning is not truly a rehearsal. It's more of a warm-up and more, I call, putting the song in the front part of our brain instead of our cobweb part of the brain. So we may sing it once or twice, but hopefully not working on too many details in terms of that. So I usually do 20 minutes, about of actual rehearsal. And I ask all choir members, when you come to rehearsal, I'm a big stickler, we start on time and you come ready to sing. So some people, that's different levels. What does it mean to be ready to sing? Some people do extensive warm-ups before, if they need it. Some people just kind of show up and they're able to do that. So, but I'd say that's what I want you to do, is when I say that whatever the rehearsal, and I pretty much do start rehearsals on time, because it's like time is, we just got to keep moving. So we have limited time. I find the longer you go, the more you have to have passion. So there's times I'll say, this is so amazing. Can we just take another 5 minutes? And I ask the choir, and most of the time they say yes. Every now and then I get someone say no. But if they say no, I'll honor that. But it also shows me what the engagement level is, in terms of that. The choir feeds me, and then that makes me want to work harder. So when I hear the excitement in the choir, then I work harder. So.
And then we have more than one rehearsal to work on certain pieces. I generally rehearse one and do it on Monday.
So the question is, do you hand out a whole bundle for for a season, or do you just do one and do the next? So the latter one is I've seldom have done. The only time I do that is if there's a pickup choir, I will do just that one, and I do that sometimes in summer. But generally, I like to have 3 independent rehearsals on every piece, period. In terms of that, I have done where I have mapped out the entire season, and I have handed those all at the beginning. I have done it when I usually start a job, I'm still listening to you, so I don't like to work too far ahead, because I'm trying to figure out what works for you, and I go, oh, that's the wrong song. But because I feel part of my role is to try to find what works for a particular community. And so that requires a lot of listening and part of us walking together in terms of that. But back to your grid, I'm pretty much hold 3 rehearsals minimum for standard program choir year, not pickup choir.
So I would talk to you, let's say it's like we don't feel prepared. We deal with us saying we are not, we will be embarrassed
I certainly get that at times, but part of this is getting trust too. There's many times, no matter how far, it depends on the individual. There's some individuals in every choir that I have that they're never ever enough for prayer. There always is more, and I have to do a little hand holding. And then there's other people that is actually much worse, that are like, oh, I know it, and like, you do not. Those are the harder people to work with, to be honest with you. So when people, so yes, the question is, do I listen? Absolutely, 100%, because this is a conversation. More than some other music directors, I have a conversation. I try to listen to what you're saying. There was a couple things, and I misheard. I'm sorry, like on the Spanish, the English, but I just said, this is not a ditch for me to say tonight, we must do it in English or we must do it. But sometimes I will come and say that this is where it is. So I was trying to listen at this point where you were on this. And if you even, when I announced it, I said, tell me what you were doing, because I was trying to hear what you were doing. And sometimes I get it wrong, and that's part of what I ask for our Christian community is if I get it wrong, forgive me, and I will try to do the same for you. Yes? Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's several, again, I'm not trying to pick on you, but there's a couple questions in there. But I'm going to try, what I'm hearing from you the most, and you tell me if I got it right, is that there's one, how do I attract singers, which is, to me, I'm going to tell you a couple things. I'm always recruiting 24/7. It's part of your mission to bring people to Christ. And part of, I believe, bringing music is one way to do that. So it's all the time. And it's not just me, it's all of you too. And if you're really excited about the choir, you will share that vision and take that on as well. And then part of it is me giving you tools how to do that better. An example that I have found for musicians is there are musicians in this community right now that would love to sing and be a part of this. It's just we have to find them. And where I have found one of the best places to go is, believe it or not, is karaoke bars. You find someone and they sing, and then you're just like, and you not just alone, you go and you talk with choir members, as a group, and we're having a good time. And suddenly it's like, and then you're like, this is such a fun group. And then someone, you're not trying to just stay, join St. Mark's, you're just basically saying, let's just start. Sometimes we just start singing together, and then they want to know why you're all together. And then so that's one way. The other thing is being very intentional on youth. Youth is an interesting word. I'm part of a long-range planning committee for the diocese, so right now I'm in, and one of them we were talking about what is youth. And one person literally did say, youth is anyone under 55. And I was like, yeah. And we laugh at that, but there's some truth on that. And so part of that is being intentional. One of the things I have to constantly, and I still struggle at this last church and other churches, is when you even have, like, I had one person say, we need to have choir on Tuesdays at 4:00. And I said, absolutely not. We will lose all people who work. And I just said, that's just not going to happen. But and the person was really upset at me because they said, you don't understand, I can't drive at night. And I said, I get that. I will drive you home. And if it's not me, someone else will. We have ways to get around that if that's where the barrier, because it's important we keep our senior members part of the church. But I think also, I said, but if we're doing this to respect you, I'm asking you to also respect and welcome people in different generations. And so it's not, the other thing I look at is I go to high school musicals wherever I'm at. And again, I look for people, and there are probably some people who are affiliated with this church, every church I've been in, who has their name on the books, but we barely see them, but they have a teenager singing in a high school musical and loves music. And I have no problem having high schools be a part of an adult choir if they show some maturity. And they actually love it because they feel like I'm being an adult. Instead of being part of some kiddie program, they feel they're part of the adult program. So right now I have one, 16-year-old, girl, Janelle, she's part of my choir. And then I have Ryan, who was 16, but now he's 19, but he's now going to a community college. So I intentionally try to go after some teenagers, and they bring to be honest, they actually bring some more professionalism to the choir, because both of these two, they came to rehearsals actually having sung everything. And then the older members like, how do you already know this song? I'm like, well, I worked on it. And they're like, oh my gosh. Okay. Are we doing okay on time?
Yeah, maybe a couple more questions.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. See, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said. Mm-hmm. Right. as I said, there's many different ways to achieve what you're talking about. Your question sounds like whether you think it should be longer, and I can respect that, and it does depend on the material. But I will say this philosophically to address your question is I feel that rehearsal should be separate from worship. And so I try to keep Sunday focused on worship. It's just my viewpoint, but I do try to work pretty hard at rehearsals. And I have even been known to request another rehearsal if I'm not happy.
Well, it's almost 9:30.
Yes.
So, Matt, thank you so much. And I'd like to give Matt some applause for being with us tonight. And I know you want to end with a prayer.
I do want to end with a prayer, if we could. So first, one of the things I always do in my choir rehearsal is I need to hear some prayers, concerns from you as the community. So I'm asking you if you're willing to share, just like we do in the prayers of the people. If you have, first of all, we don't do this enough. If you have a prayer of thanksgiving, something you're particularly happy about, and you're willing to share, say so. And then if there's a prayer you would like, just a concern you have for someone in your community. And you don't have to say something, but I would like to hear if there's a couple in this community.
Well, those backpacks represent Holy Family School.
Excellent.
And many children are getting ready or they're going back to school right now. So I'd like to hope all those children, but particularly these children, who are facing a lot of challenges, but they have a lot of hope through their school. So
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. Okay, that's all I need. Please give me a reason to hope something good is going to happen. Sometimes we don't have to know what the thing is, but we know that's in your heart. God knows. Yes.
I think you're all praying for discernment. If I am discerning, if you are discerning, you'll be called.
I think that's an excellent one. We're all praying for discernment. Okay.
I also recently learned it's best in that, but I think it's called the chorus is prayer. Basically, it says, I pray that what my lips say my heart believe. I pray that what my heart believes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful prayer. Okay, let's gather our thoughts and center ourselves for prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing this community, this choir, this small group, but mostly children of love, as we gather here to discern what is the call for a ministry for the music area. We already know that you know, but we need to know what your will is. We give thanks for the backpacks, for the community, and how it helps people here. And it's going to touch lives that in no ways we will fully understand. And we especially pray for one member who is hoping, and you know, O Lord, what is on her heart. Amen.
Now we're off this music, so we need to make sure we get all the music. Yeah, I have files here. I'll play down. Right. Thank you.